All right, buckle up, fellow cosmic explorers. This is KM, your guide on the celestial journey, and today we're diving into a question that's as terrifying as it is fascinating. What if the sun goes out? Now, before you start stockpiling candles and thermal blankets, let's get one thing straight. The sun isn't going out anytime soon. We're talking billions of years, folks. But as space enthusiasts, we love a good what if, right? So let's embark on this chilling hypothetical journey. The first few seconds, a blinding farewell. Imagine this. You're outside, enjoying a sunny day, and suddenly the sun vanishes. Not dims, not flickers, vanishes. The first thing you'd notice? A terrifying, instantaneous darkness. Light travels at approximately 299,792 kilometers per second. Given the sun's average distance of about 149.6 million kilometers, it would take roughly 8 minutes and 20 seconds for us to realize the sun is gone. For those initial 8 minutes and 20 seconds, life would continue as normal, blissfully unaware of the impending doom. We'd still see the sun, feel its warmth, and go about our day. But then, bam, darkness. A sudden, complete, and utter darkness. The first few minutes, panic and chaos. The immediate reaction would be sheer, unadulterated panic. Streetlights would flicker on, but their feeble glow would barely scratch the surface of the overwhelming darkness. Imagine the chaos. Cars crashing, planes falling from the sky, people stumbling blindly in the streets. Communication systems would be overloaded as everyone tries to make sense of what's happening. The psychological impact would be immense. Humans are creatures of light. Our circadian rhythms, our mental well-being, everything is tied to the sun's presence. The sudden absence of it would trigger widespread anxiety and fear. The first few hours. The temperature plummets. Without the sun's energy, Earth would begin to cool rapidly. The average surface temperature is about 15 degrees Celsius. Within hours, this would drop drastically. We're talking a loss of several degrees per hour. Water on the surface would start to freeze. The atmosphere, which is heated by the sun, would also begin to cool and contract. This would lead to massive changes in weather patterns, with hurricane-force winds and blizzards sweeping across the globe. The first few days. Freezing in desperation. As the days turn into nights, the temperature would continue to plummet. We're talking sub-zero temperatures, even at the equator. The oceans, which act as a massive heat sink, would slow the cooling process, but they would eventually freeze on the surface. Survival would become the primary focus. Those living near geothermal vents or deep underground might have a chance, but for the vast majority of humanity, it would be a losing battle. The first few weeks, a frozen wasteland. Within a few weeks, Earth would become a frozen wasteland. The surface temperature would drop to around 100 degrees Celsius or lower. The atmosphere would become thin and icy. The oceans would be covered in a thick layer of ice. Plant life would die off quickly. Photosynthesis, the process by which plants convert sunlight into energy, would cease. Animals that rely on plants for food would starve. The first few months, a dark, silent world. As the months pass, the Earth would become a dark, silent, and frozen world. The only light would come from the stars, which would appear brighter than ever in the absence of the sun's glare. The core of the Earth would still generate heat, but it wouldn't be enough to keep the surface habitable. The planet would become a giant frozen snowball, drifting through the vast emptiness of space. The first few years, a cosmic tomb. Over the years, the Earth would continue to cool, eventually reaching a temperature close to absolute zero, -273.15 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere would freeze solid, and the planet would become a cosmic tomb, a silent monument to a once vibrant world. The long term, what remains? In the long term, if the sun were to go out, the solar system would become a dark, cold, and desolate place. The planets would continue to orbit the center of mass, but they would be frozen and lifeless. The Earth, once a cradle of life, would become a frozen relic, a testament to the fragility of existence. It would continue its lonely journey through the galaxy, a silent witness to the vastness and indifference of the cosmos. The science behind the sun's importance. Why is the sun so crucial? It's not just about light and warmth. The sun drives almost every process on Earth. Photosynthesis. Plants use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. Without it, plant life would cease and the food chain would collapse. climate, the sun's energy drives our weather patterns, ocean currents, and climate. Without it, the Earth's climate would become unstable and eventually reach equilibrium with the cold of space. Water cycle. The sun's heat evaporates water, which then falls as rain and snow. Without it, the water cycle would stop, and all surface water would eventually freeze. Gravity. The sun's gravity holds the solar system together. Without it, the planets would drift off into space. Radiation. The sun emits a stream of charged particles, known as the solar wind, which creates the heliosphere, a protective bubble that shields us from harmful cosmic radiation. What would happen to other planets? The effects of the sun going out would be felt throughout the solar system. Mercury. This tiny planet, closest to the sun, would cool rapidly, becoming a frozen rock. Venus. Despite its thick atmosphere, Venus would also cool, though more slowly than Mercury. Its runaway greenhouse effect would cease. Mars. This already cold planet would become even colder, with its thin atmosphere freezing solid. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. These gas giants would become dark, cold, and featureless. Their moons, many of which harbor subsurface oceans, might become even more interesting, as their internal heat would become the main source of energy. Pluto. This dwarf planet, already at the edge of the solar system, would become even colder and darker. The unlikely scenarios. What could cause the sun to go out? While the sun is incredibly stable, there are a few hypothetical scenarios that could cause it to go out. Sudden stellar evolution. While unlikely on such a short time scale, it is possible for a star to rapidly change its evolution. A sudden change in nuclear fusion within the core could cause it to collapse or explode. Interaction with a rogue star. A close encounter with a rogue star could disrupt the sun's gravitational balance, causing it to eject its outer layers or even collapse. Exotic matter interaction. Hypothetical particles like strangelets or microscopic black holes could interact with the sun's core, causing it to destabilize. A white hole effect. A white hole is a theoretical region of space-time which cannot be entered from the outside, and from which light and matter emerge. If the sun was to suddenly become a white hole, it would appear to vanish. The importance of understanding our star. This thought experiment, while chilling, highlights the importance of understanding our star. The sun is not just a source of light and warmth, it's the lifeblood of our planet. By studying the sun, we can better understand its behavior, predict its future, and prepare for any potential threats. We can also gain insights into the formation and evolution of other stars, and ultimately, our place in the vast cosmos. Celestial Journey's final thoughts. As your host, KM, from Celestial Journey, I hope this exploration into the terrifying what-if has been both informative and thought-provoking. While the prospect of the sun going out is terrifying, it's important to remember that it's a highly unlikely scenario. Our sun is a stable and reliable star, and it will continue to shine for billions of years to come. But that doesn't mean we should take it for granted. We should cherish its light and warmth, and continue to explore the wonders of the cosmos. So keep looking up, fellow cosmic explorers. There's always something new to discover in the vastness of space. And who knows, maybe one day, we'll find a way to survive, even if the sun does go out. Until then, let's appreciate the light we have and continue our celestial journey together.